The night was thick with tension as the full moon hung ominously over the hidden leaf village, its pale light casting long shadows across the trembling rooftops. Below, the streets were eerily silent, the usual bustle replaced by an unsettling stillness. The infinite Tsukuyomi had taken hold, trapping countless shinobi in an endless dream. But Naruto Uzumaki stood defiant, his cerulean eyes burning with determination as he faced the towering figure of Madara Uchiha, whose crimson Sharingan gleamed with cold amusement. "You still resist, Naruto?" Madara's voice was a deep, mocking rumble, echoing across the deserted battlefield. "This world of dreams is a mercy. Why cling to pain when you can have peace?" Naruto gritted his teeth, his fingers curling into fists. "Peace built on lies isn't peace at all. I'll break this genjutsu and wake everyone up." His body flared with golden chakra, the nine tails power surging around him like a fiery mantle. Across from him, Sasuke Uchiha materialized in a swirl of black flames, his rinnegan spinning coldly. "TCH. Talk less, fight more," Sasuke muttered, his sword gleaming under the moonlight. Madara chuckled, crossing his arms. "Very well. Let's see how long your resolve lasts." With a flick of his wrist, he summoned a barrage of black rods, each humming with sinister energy as they shot toward the duo. Naruto reacted instantly, forming a Rasengan in his palm and deflecting the projectiles with a whirlwind of motion, the sheer force sending shockwaves through the air. Sasuke vanished in a blur, reappearing behind Madara with his blade aimed for the spine, only for Madara to phase through the attack like a ghost, his form shimmering with intangible chakra. "Predictable," Madara taunted, spinning midair and delivering a devastating kick to Sasuke's ribs, sending him crashing into a crumbling wall. Naruto roared, charging forward with a Rasen Shuriken, the spiraling disc of wind screeching as it hurtled toward its target. Madara's eyes narrowed, and with a single hand seal, he erected a Susanoo ribcage, the violet bones absorbing the impact with a thunderous explosion. Dust billowed, obscuring the battlefield for a breathless moment before Madara emerged unscathed, his Susanoo now fully formed, a skeletal warrior wielding a massive blade. Sasuke wiped blood from his lip, his Sharingan spinning wildly as he activated his own Susanoo, a towering purple entity clad in armor, its skeletal wings unfurling. "We can't hold back," he growled. Naruto nodded, his golden chakra flaring higher as Kurama's full form materialized behind him, the nine tails lashing like whips of pure energy. The clash was cataclysmic. Madara's Susanoo swung its sword in a devastating arc, cleaving the earth as Naruto and Kurama dodged, countering with a barrage of tailed beast bombs. The explosions lit up the night sky, each detonation shaking the ground like an earthquake. Sasuke seized the opening, his Susanoo launching a volley of Amaterasu arrows, the black flames searing through the air, only for Madara to deflect them with a swing of his blade, the flames dissipating into smoke. "You two are strong," Madara admitted, his voice tinged with something almost like respect. "But strength alone won't break the infinite Tsukuyomi." His rinnegan pulsed, and suddenly, the world around them twisted, the battlefield melting into an endless sea of white, the dream realm itself bending to his will. Naruto felt his breath hitch as the ground beneath him turned to liquid, his body sinking. "What the?" Sasuke's Susanoo flickered, the chakra destabilizing as the illusion took hold. But Naruto refused to yield. With a roar, he channeled every ounce of Kurama's power, his body radiating blinding light as he forced the dream to fracture. Reality splintered, the white void cracking like glass, and for a fleeting second, Madara's confidence wavered. "You're fighting against the very fabric of this world," Madara mused, his voice laced with intrigue. "But can you sustain it?" Naruto's muscles screamed in protest, his chakra reserves depleting rapidly, but his resolve never faltered. "I don't care how impossible it seems. I'll tear this illusion apart, even if it kills me." Sasuke's rinnegan blazed as he pushed forward, his Susanoo reforging itself. "Then let's finish this." The two charged, their combined might shaking the dream world to its core. The final clash was inevitable, and the fate of reality hung in the balance. The air crackled with energy as Naruto and Sasuke stood back to back, their eyes locked on the swirling vortex of chakra above them. The infinite Tsukuyomi's hold on the world was weakening, but Madara, now fused with the Shinju, loomed before them like an indomitable god. His laughter echoed through the shattered landscape as he raised a hand, summoning a storm of black rods that rained down like judgment. Naruto gritted his teeth, his Kurama cloak flaring as he dodged and weaved, his movements a blur of orange and gold. Sasuke's rinnegan spun, his Susanoo manifesting in an instant to block the assault, the violet energy clashing against the dark projectiles in a shower of sparks. "You're running out of time," Madara taunted, his voice dripping with arrogance. "The dream is already unraveling, but you'll never break free." Naruto didn't answer. Instead, he poured every ounce of his will into his next move. With a roar, he launched himself forward, his Rasengan swirling violently in his palm, infused with natural energy. Madara smirked and met him head-on, their collision sending shockwaves through the battlefield. The ground split beneath them as their chakra clashed, but Naruto refused to yield. He could feel the weight of every failure, every loss, fueling his determination. This wasn't just about winning, it was about proving that reality, no matter how painful, was worth fighting for. Sasuke seized the opening, his Sharingan tracking Madara's movements with precision. In a flash, he teleported behind the enemy, his Chidori screeching like 1,000 birds. Madara twisted at the last second, but Sasuke's blade still grazed his side, drawing blood. The Uchiha's eyes narrowed. Madara was fast, but not invincible. "We adapt, or we die," Sasuke muttered, his mind racing through every possible strategy. Madara retaliated with a brutal swing of his fan, the force sending Sasuke skidding backward. But before he could press the advantage, Naruto was there again, his shadow clones multiplying exponentially, each one a distraction, a feint, a calculated risk. One clone feigned a frontal assault while another slipped low, aiming for Madara's legs. The real Naruto came from above, his Rasen Shuriken humming with destructive power. Madara's eyes widened, he couldn't block them all. The explosion rocked the battlefield, dust and debris obscuring vision. For a heartbeat, there was silence. Then, laughter. Madara emerged, his body already regenerating, his Rinnegan pulsing with ominous light. "Impressive," he admitted, wiping blood from his lip. "But you're still playing by the rules of a world that no longer exists." Naruto and Sasuke exchanged a glance. Words weren't needed. They had fought together, against each other, and now, against the impossible. They knew what had to be done. Sasuke's Susanoo wings unfurled, carrying him skyward as he gathered Amaterasu's black flames in his palm. Naruto channeled the last of Kurama's chakra, his body glowing like a miniature sun. They moved in perfect sync, their attacks converging on Madara in a cataclysmic spiral of fire and wind. The impact was deafening, the very fabric of the dream world shuddering under the strain. Madara screamed as the flames consumed him, his regeneration failing under the sheer force of their combined assault. But even as his body began to crumble, his will remained unbroken. "You fools! You still don't understand," he snarled, his voice distorting as the dream around them fractured. The sky splintered like glass, revealing glimpses of the real world beyond. Naruto could see his friends, Sakura, Kakashi, the others, still trapped in the infinite Tsukuyomi's illusion. His hands clenched into fists. "We're ending this now," he growled. With one final surge of power, Naruto and Sasuke unleashed everything they had. The dream world shattered, and reality rushed back in a blinding flood of light. The battle was over. But the cost, and the victory, would linger forever. The air crackled with residual chakra as Naruto and Sasuke stood back to back, their breaths ragged, their bodies battered but unbroken. The infinite Tsukuyomi's illusion flickered around them, the dream world unraveling like torn parchment. Madara loomed above, his Rinnegan blazing with manic triumph, the god tree's roots snaking through the earth, draining the life from everything they touched. "You're too late," Madara sneered, his voice echoing like thunder. "This world will be reborn in my image." Naruto's fists clenched, Kurama's chakra flaring around him in a desperate surge. "Like hell we are." He launched forward, a golden comet streaking through the chaos, Rasengan spiraling in his palm. Sasuke was already in motion, his Susanoo sword carving a path through the roots as he teleported beside Madara, Sharingan spinning wildly. Their attacks collided in a shockwave that split the sky, but Madara merely laughed, his limbo clones intercepting with brutal efficiency. A fist of pure force slammed into Naruto's ribs, sending him skidding across the battlefield, blood spraying from his lips. Sasuke barely dodged a swipe of Madara's staff, his muscles screaming in protest. He could feel the drain of his Mangekyo, his vision blurring at the edges. "Naruto, now," he shouted, channeling the last of his chakra into Amaterasu. Black flames erupted around Madara, but the Uchiha patriarch merely absorbed them, his Rinnegan drinking in the fire like water. "Pathetic," he spat. "You've exhausted your tricks." Naruto forced himself up, his body trembling. He could hear Kurama's voice, faint but fierce. "One last shot, kid. Make it count." With a roar, Naruto summoned every ounce of power left in him, the ground fracturing under his feet as he rocketed toward Madara. Sasuke, sensing the plan, activated his Rinnegan one final time, swapping places with Naruto mid-charge. Madara's eyes widened as Naruto's Rasengan, now infused with every tailed beast's chakra, slammed into his chest, the impact detonating like a supernova. The explosion hurled them all apart, the shockwave ripping through the god tree's roots. Madara staggered, his perfect form cracking, his godly confidence shattered. Impossible, he gasped, staring at the fissures spreading across his body. The infinite Tsukuyomi's hold shattered completely, the dream world collapsing into reality as the trapped souls of the shinobi world awoke, their collective will surging against Madara's tyranny. Sasuke, bleeding and broken, dragged himself to Naruto's side. "We did it," he muttered, his voice hoarse. Naruto grinned weakly, his blue eyes still burning with defiance. "Yeah. But it's not over yet." Above them, the sky itself seemed to weep, the remnants of the god tree dissolving into light. The world trembled, not from destruction, but from rebirth, the balance of chakra restored, the cycle of hatred broken. In the aftermath, the shinobi alliance emerged from the ruins, their bonds reforged in the crucible of battle. Naruto and Sasuke, once rivals, now stood as symbols of unity, their clash of ideals finally harmonized. The villages, once divided, began to rebuild, their leaders humbled by the cost of war. And as the sun rose over a new era, Naruto looked to the horizon, his heart lighter than it had ever been. The dream was over, but the future was just beginning.